Welcome back to Saturday State of Mind. I'm Jess Panico, joined by Mike Panico, as always. Today, we're talking about healthcare. We're part of a series discussing the 5 worlds when it comes to retirement planning. And today, we're going to deep dive on healthcare. And what do you need to think about in terms of retirement planning? Mike, where do we begin?
Maybe we just skip this one.
Yeah, just no one wants to talk about it.
I think people would prefer if we skipped it. I mean, nobody likes talking about this stuff at all. I don't like talking about it either. Not really, if I'm being honest. The 5 planning worlds, right? There's income, right? So that's the money I get to spend.
That's fun.
I'm doing all the Saturday stuff. And then there's like taxes. Like nobody likes taxes, but they like tax planning.
Well, they like not paying the IRS.
Let's chop the legs out from under the IRS, right? Like, let's save some money on taxes.
Inflation.
People like that. Yeah.
That's investing.
That's where we get to invest, right? Because you offset inflation with the investments, and that's tactical, and that's cool. And then it's like, let's talk about dementia risk and maybe becoming a burden and wearing diapers in adulthood, and it's a bummer.
You talk about this actually quite a bit at some of the live events that you do, the live seminars that we put on. We do a bunch of dinner educational seminars, and you talk about what happens when you're wandering the neighborhood in the nightgown. And I think a couple of times people have been like, "Oh God, this is not a great conversation."
Yeah, I say it tongue in cheek, but I mean, there are people who've lived that.
Oh, sure.
They got a phone call about ma'am, and, like she almost got hit by a car. This stuff it's terrifying. I think most people, if you polled them, and this would be like the most macabre, poll that you could probably ever take. But it's like, would you rather just like have a stroke in your sleep and die instantly, or like slowly lose your sense of self? You can't recognize people. You start having trouble navigating your day to day. And like
What do you think that poll would look like?
Actually, I don't know. I really don't know.
That is great. I am team, like, I don't want to see it coming. I mean, I don't want it to happen today, obviously, but like, let's
just punch the clock, man, because the slowly fading away stuff is terrifying. And I do want to be clear too, when we talk about elder care issues, it's not just dementia. I mean, that's where we go because it's some of the most existentially terrifying stuff to experience. But a lot of times it's just mobility issues where we're still sharp as a tack. People love saying that about folks as they age, but maybe they need assistance. They got a cane, they got a wheelchair. You start to have trouble getting around. I mean, I feel it in my 40s, like just getting out of bed.
Or getting out from a chair you sat in for a little bit of time. You're like, oh, hold on a second.
Yeah, and so that just progressively gets worse, and maybe it gets to a point where you need assistance. It doesn't mean you need necessarily babysitting. It doesn't mean that you don't still have command of yourself, and you still can't have Saturdays at that phase of your life.
Sure.
What I'm going to do, I want to Christopher Nolan this, Jess.
Oh.
I want to start with where the end is.
Is this Inception or Memento?
Your choice. I think where a lot of people want to go is they want to talk about the tactics. Or actually, here's what most people want to do. Okay. They want to ignore it. They're like, they start to bargain with themselves. They'll say, that's not going to happen to me because I do yoga and I drink green tea. You might be less likely to experience a care event, but it doesn't mean it's not out of the realm of possibility.
I eat salads and drink martinis because I believe life is about balance.
Okay, you're in trouble, by the way. The other part of the bargaining that we'll do is we'll say, hey, if that happens to me, I won't care. Wheel me into a corner, drop me into the ocean. Like, just, I don't care what kind of care I get, if I get any care at all.
It's crazy how many of our clients or folks that we meet with literally say, I don't care what happens to me when I'm 80.
Yeah, you'll care.
What?
You talk to...
who cares too? Your kids, because they don't want to see you in the corner peeing yourself.
Thank you for that comment, because that helps me get on track with the Christopher Nolan. Let's start with the end of the movie. I don't want to be a burden to my kids. I think a lot of people say,
they were a burden to me.
If they get over the bargaining, they're like, okay, so there's a problem. I should plan for it. What kind of insurance do I need? What does it cost? Because I don't want my house. I don't want my IRA. I don't want my bank account going to the hospital, going to the doctors, going to the nursing care system, going to the government. Everybody looks at this as a process in protecting assets.
Right, or they try to hide everything or spend down so that they can get like government assistance.
Correct. Right? So they get into this tactical stuff where at the end of it, the end goal is to protect money. I am more interested in first and foremost protecting my kids, the rest of my family members, brothers, anybody from being directly burdened by this, because anyone out there, if you've gone through a care event with somebody you love, you know what happens here. It's work. Whoever's going through the care event has doctor appointment after doctor appointment. They have all sorts of meds that they need to be taking at different times of day, and maybe they're not in a position to monitor or manage all of this, right? It's a lot of work for somebody. And I don't want to drop that responsibility on some, like, I want people to hang out with me. I want them to visit. I want them to call. I want to be invited to things still. Like, I still want to be a part of a community, part of my family, certainly, but I don't want to be a burden to them. And I'll tell you, Jess, in a very close second too, I want to have really good care, like really good care.
Well, you know, it's funny because you said primarily I want to protect my kids. And I do now, but our boys are 13 and 14, right? So I think when I'm 80, primarily I want to protect me. I want good care. I don't want to be in, you know, if I have to be like in a facility, in the worst state-run facility, or if I'm living at home, just having like suboptimal care, being like, I need, you know, some assistance, or I need this like physical therapy, but I just can't get it. So, you know, I think it's a close tie maybe, but like, you know, when I advance in retirement, I want to have good care. And then I also don't want to be a burden to my loved ones.
Yeah, in good care, this is going to be a really difficult thing to discuss. I'm not even sure we've discussed it at this length before, but what is good care? So let's say that I tweak a knee. I want to have the best surgeon repair it.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would shake a stick at that, right?
Sure.
Suppose it's back surgery. Suppose it's cancer and chemo. Okay, yeah, I want all, because there's this expectation that on the other end of some of these care issues that you can kind of quote unquote go back to normal. I want that kind of good care. I do think people need to start thinking through what good care means if you do have dementia. Because there are places that will give you all the right prescriptions, right? And have immaculate care of your everyday needs, your food, right? Your cleanliness, all this other stuff. And some people persist in those environments for years.
Do you know what it costs in memory care facilities? My girlfriend had her grandmother who basically ate through all the inheritance that was going to go to the kids, which, you know, was grandma's money. It was her money to use. But after whatever Medicare would throw in, it was like 20 grand a month. Memory care is the highest, most expensive level of care when it comes to like nursing homes or assisted living.
Right, but you see what you just did there? You flipped this right back into the money conversation, right? So maybe you might even be doing some bargaining. You don't even realize it. Just stick with me
What's
here,
expensive?
right? There's the quality of care issue,
Sure.
but there's also the quality of life issue. I had read this article years ago.
You're saying it's cheaper to roll grandma down the hill?
No.
Or that's a better
I'm going to go dig this up. I'm pretty sure it was in the Wall Street Journal or something similar. It was by either a brain or a heart surgeon. And he was like, I'm approaching 75 and I've had to have a family meeting because I need to remind everybody, not like the people in this family would forget because this guy's done a lot of planning. But he said in my family, they're aware that after the age of 75, if I can get corrective care that puts me back to quote unquote normal, I'm all about that care. But care that's going to sustain me in a state where I'm just degrading,
Sure.
I'm not going to like sign up for, and I want them to honor these wishes if I can't make the decisions for myself.
Well, that's why we talk a lot about like life support.
It's not even just life support, but sometimes people will be on this cocktail of medications to sustain themselves in a like near vegetative state for years on end where they're listless, there's no energy. And we've seen this with certain people. You get a cancer diagnosis and they say something like, hey, if we don't do anything, you've got 6 months. But choice B is we can give you all this chemotherapy, right? It might give you 2 to 5 years, but they'll be not great years because you're going to be,
your hair will fall out.
Yeah. And so I don't know how many people who've just checked in to watch this and they've either just like walked away to get a snack or just get away from this conversation. Maybe they probably shut the video down. This is so uncomfortable. All of this, right? And we're the Saturday people. How is it that in the majority of the things that we say to people, the content that we provide, the discussions and the services that we offer to people, most of it's the optimistic stuff, Jess. Live every day like it's Saturday. Carpe diem, right? Time is your most valuable asset. But part of the retirement planning process is to acknowledge that healthcare, what you get, how you get it, who it involves, right? And really what you want for yourself towards the end of your life. Not just what it costs. That's part of of course, that's table stakes for the conversation.
Sure.
But really thinking through this. It's so uncomfortable, but we tell people all the time, listen, we're going to have this uncomfortable conversation once.
We're not retirement planners for your first 5 years of retirement. It's the fun retirement years. Like, hey, go on that cruise, spoil those kids. it's going to turn dark after here. We talk about retirement. You have the go-go, the slow-go, the no-go years, right? You just gradually don't do as much. Maybe you don't have health issues, but when you're 95, you're not, living it up like when you were 65. The majority, speaking here too. But we're not just planning for what does retirement, or more specifically healthcare, look like when you're 65 or 70. We're planning for it your entire retirement, the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And those are heavy conversations.
Yeah.
This is why it's important that we have this conversation.
But they can actually be kind of fun. I mean, you've all heard the story. Somebody's in an unexpected accident. They were the picture of health. And then the next thing you know, they're in a hospital. They're on life support. And people are looking at each other and they're saying, what did he want in this situation?
How has this never come up?
We respect this person. We want to honor their wishes. I remember when you and I have gone through a process with attorney Liz Nolan. It was we talked about macabre polls. She sent us through this questionnaire about feeding tubes and emergency response type stuff in these environments. And at first it felt weird having that conversation, and then it kind of got fun, and we would start debating certain scenarios.
It's great, and this is why I still going on public record don't want Mike as my healthcare proxy, even though you are technically, because you're getting ready to pull the plug today, basically.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you annoy me a lot,
right? And while I'm not do everything to the end, it is funny how our opinions can differ a little bit with what type of treatment you want. But that's so important to have.
If you take nothing away from this conversation, start with this. If there's people that you love, oftentimes it's kids, but it could be siblings, it could be a spouse. You want to have this conversation so that there's a plan for them to be not in the blast radius, just at least at arm's length, maybe out of the picture entirely, so that you're independent, your wishes are known, there's a plan in place, right? Yeah, we can protect all the assets and do some maneuvering there too. That's kind of the easy part, but having the conversation, asking the questions that sometimes you don't even think to ask yourself. And sometimes, the motivation has to be, well, it's not about what's good for me. It's what's good for these other people that we care about. Have that conversation, and it's just part of the planning journey.
That's right. If this content was helpful, like and subscribe for more, and join us for our next video on taxes and what that looks like in retirement. We'll see you then.